जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्रीमदेसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की। नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की। श्री श्री राधा रसबिहारी ललिता विशाखा की। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण की। श्री श्री गौर निताय की। श्रील प्रभुपाद की। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. While Prabhupada participated fully, both formally and informally, at New Vrindavan, he still carried a special burden of concern for Bombay. Although he had appointed GBC secretaries to oversee the Krishna consciousness movement in various parts of the world, he was the real GBC secretary of India. Wherever he travelled, therefore, he remained partial to those projects. He was setting the perfect example of a GBC secretary. While conscientiously tending to practical affairs, he remained always transcendental, fully dependent on Krishna, and always preaching. After drafting a telegram to Giriraj or hearing the difficulties in Bombay, he would immediately return to his peaceful routine and active preaching. He would take his late morning massage, bathe, put on tilaka methodically and delicately, say his Gayatri mantra with silent composure, take his prasadam, rest for an hour, and in the evening, after a full day's activities, go into the temple room and of whatever temple he happened to be in, sit on the Vyasasan and chant Jai Radha Madhava and speak pure Krishna consciousness. So this is the difference between Srila Prabhupada and all of us. You know, once when Srila Prabhupada was in London, 1972 like that, 70. So one gentleman, Indian gentleman, he wanted to meet Srila Prabhupada. So they called up and they asked, and then he said, yeah, you come. So he is living very far off from temple actually. So he had to change some 2-3 buses, train and all that. So it took him 1.5 hours to reach the place. So at that time I think Purushottam or somebody was his assistant. So by the time that Indian gentleman reached, Prabhupada was taking rest. So he said, his assistant said, Purushottam, he said, no, he can't meet Prabhupada. He can't meet Prabhupada, he is taking rest. Like that. So, that gentleman waited. So, he said, you know, Prabhupada told me to meet him. How you are saying, you know, he is taking rest. So, like that. Later on, it went on like that. And then, finally, he went back. So Prabhupada, he got up and he came to know about this. So Prabhupada was so angry, he chastised him very heavily. You rascal, why didn't you wake me up? He came all the way, spending so much money, and 2-3 hours it took him. He was very angry. Chastised him. So Mukund Maharaj was narrating this pastime. Then after half an hour, Prabhupada again dealing with Purushottam as usual, without becoming angry and as if nothing happened. Yeah? As if nothing happened. So Mukund Maharaj was saying this. Sometimes when we become angry with somebody, it will carry on for hours together. For hours together. You know, we keep that anger and mind is agitated and all that. But for Prabhupada, that is required. Anger is shown to, he is not an angry person. But it is required to show anger to correct some person. And then no more carrying grudges or, hangover of anger and all that. So this is what is explained here. So he may be facing problem in Mumbai and there is a lot of tension. But it did not affect his daily schedule and preaching and all that. So that's how it is. But we are not like that. We become very... बहुत बातें हो रहा है, क्या बात है? वो लेडीज को बोलना. After New Vrindavan, Prabhupada went to Pittsburgh, where he attended a successful engagement at a large hall, the Syria Mosque. He also met with a Catholic bishop, whom he asked, why do the Christians kill cows in slaughterhouses and thus break the commandment, thou shalt not kill? Prabhupada had often asked this question of Christian priests and was always unsatisfied with the answer. This was no exception. In informal gathering in his room, Prabhupada stressed outgoing preaching program, and he advised his newly initiated sannyasis present to follow the example of their god brother Vishnujana Swami, to travel in a bus from town to town and hold festivals and distribute books and magazines. September 9. The devotees in Dallas had purchased a large church facility and were forming the first ISKCON children's school known as Gurukula. Prabhupada, while traveling in India during 1971-72, had sent a series of letters to the Dallas teachers explaining the basic direction he wanted them to take for beginning a Krishna conscious primary school. We will teach the basic requirements of reading and writing, but also give them real spiritual knowledge, how to live perfectly. What other school of learning offers such a wonderful educational opportunity? Last night, the topic of my lecture at our Delhi Pandal was the necessity for teaching Krishna consciousness in all our schools and colleges. This is a revolutionary thought, but we have seen that practical outcome of so much godless education in technology and science is that they are producing only hippies, one after another. What is the use of their skyscraper buildings if their sons will not maintain them? The old system of Gurukula should be revived as a perfect example of a system designed to produce great men, sober and responsible leaders who know what is real welfare of the citizens. Just as in former days, all big personalities were trained in this way. Now you have got the responsibility to inject this idea in your country. Please do it with a cool head, and very soon we shall see the practical benefit for your countrymen. So Srila Prabhupada wanted this only spiritual education to be given in our Gurukuls. Right? So when our Bombay school was to be established, there is a lot of discussion going on, Prabhupada and his disciples. Prabhupada specifically told, don't get the school to be affiliated to any government body. Prabhupada said, once you get affiliated, then the children, there will be so much burden of completing the syllabus and education and all. Then they will not have time for spiritual education, spiritual knowledge. One of our devotee parents, they were complaining, Prabhuji, in their school they don't teach so much Bhagavad Gita and all. So when I spoke to the principal, she said the same thing. What Prabhupada said 40 years back. Prabhuji, there is so much burden of syllabus. There is no place, there is no time to breathe. How can we teach Bhagavad Gita? Like that. Right? Now, Prabhupada told in Gurukul, you train them in such a way that they will be unfit for leading material life outside. They have to join ISKCON. But now in our Gurukuls they teach, IIT coaching and all that. So we have failed, Prabhupada regarding Gurukul system. And we are seeing the result. Children are not trained properly. And then Prabhupada wanted that devotees, children should be trained in Krishna consciousness throughout their life and take care of ISKCON projects later on as full-time devotees. So that because they can't live outside. They have to stay in ISKCON. Because he said only teach how to read and write English and little maths, geography and all that. So what to do? These letters had assured the dullest devotees that they were doing the most important work for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. The school had gained support from other ISKCON members and many parents had sent their children. By the time Srila Prabhupada's visit, about 50 students were enrolled. Prabhupada said, Dallas weather reminded him of Calcutta, even though he felt uncomfortably hot. Disdaining the use of air conditioning, he shed his kurta and sat on the lawn with his inexperienced but eager group of teachers. The best system of education, he said, was as he had known as a child. One teacher in a room with up to 50 students of various ages and aptitudes. One at a time, the student would come to the teacher's desk, receive guidance and a further assignment, and then return to work. The Gurukula teachers were particularly concerned and puzzled about how to discipline children without being punitive, and Prabhupada unhesitatingly solved all their puzzles. He said the student should both fear and love their teachers. The teacher, by stern countenance, may threaten an unruly child and make him submit, but the teacher should not hit the child. The next day, Srila Prabhupada went into a classroom and sat on a cushion before the class. Holding a blackboard pointer in each hand, he joked that one stick could be used for hitting the students' heads and the other for hitting their hands. The children and teachers became delighted to see Prabhupada's playful mood. When he asked if anyone wanted to get hit, both teachers and students moved forward, holding their hands out for merciful slap from Srila Prabhupada. To demonstrate how to teach, Prabhupada called for a volunteer. Dwarkadish came forward. Prabhupada, placing his venerable hand over the boy, guided him repeatedly in forming the first letter of Sanskrit alphabet. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Das Thakur comments that when Vrindavan Das Thakur says that those who don't become devotees of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, I will kick them with my feet. They are demons, like that. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta comments that it is a blessing if Vrindavan Das Thakur hits them with his feet on their heads. It is a blessing. Like that. News of Bombay followed Prabhupada to Dallas. A devotee who had recently come to the West from Bombay informed Prabhupada of Giriraja's recent talks of resigning as president of the center. Depressed by his ineffectiveness in dealing with Mr. N, the lawyers and government, and harassed by bickering and uncooperative devotees, he was considering himself unworthy to keep the charge. Now Giriraja's anxiety became Prabhupada's, as again he concerned himself with all the affairs of his Juhu project. There seemed to be no one he could discuss this with, since the devotees in America knew about nothing of matters in Bombay. The night was too hot for sleeping, and Prabhupada could not concentrate on translating Srimad Bhagavatam. So he stayed up late talking with secretary about Bombay. Surmising the mind and mood of Mr. N, and expressing his concern for his Hare Krishna land and his wonder at the devotees' hesitation and disheartenment, he turned the argument this way and that, considering it in different lights, until in the early morning he finally put it aside. Afterward, he composed another telegram. Settle land immediately at best price possible. Promised to pay if we won't. We can pay, suggest 15,000. Don't change presidency until I come. Large marble deities of Radha and Krishna arrived in Dallas by trailer from New York. Prabhupada had specifically selected these deities for Dallas Gurukula while in India and ordered them to be shipped to the United States. The Krishna deity was magnificent. He was tall, bigger than most ISKCON deities, and his limbs and head were strikingly large. According to one story, the deity was several hundred years old and therefore carved according to an ancient tradition. Even though the devotees in Dallas were unprepared to install Radha Krishna deities, Prabhupada told them to get ready in 2 days for the installation, which he would personally perform. Jahnavi Devidasi, however, unauthorizedly removed the original paint from the deities and began to repaint them. When Prabhupada heard this, he became furious. He called the Dallas president Sasarup Das Goswami to his room and demanded an explanation. Sasarup said he was a fool, but that Janava had also acted without his permission. Prabhupada then called for Janava and yelled at her furiously. She began to cry. Why have you done this? Srila Prabhupada demanded. Nonsense, was her choked reply. Nonsense, Srila Prabhupada affirmed. Suicidal nonsense. You are a nonsense and you will always remain a nonsense. So what are you going to do about this? Well, Srila Prabhupada, Janava replied quickly. I called up Bharadraja in Los Angeles and he said, if I use a certain kind of paint, Bharadraja, Prabhupada yelled, who is this Bharadraja? I am your spiritual master. I am sitting before you. What do you do? Why do you not ask me? Disgusted, he then turned to others in the room. So what is to be done about this? One of the ladies said that with quick drying paint, they could repaint the deities just as before in time for installation. Yes, Srila Prabhupada said, do it immediately. Janava stayed up all night, carefully repainting the deities as before. Early the next morning, which was to be morning of the deity installation, Krishna looked very beautiful, although his body was tacky in spots from the fresh paint. Shrutikirti Prabhu was saying, Srila Prabhupada, every day he would do massage. And then Prabhupada was very particular that when you open the bottle and take the oil, then again you keep the cap back and tighten it. Otherwise, while massaging and all, your feet or hand will touch and it will spill over. Right? So he was following. One day he didn't follow. And the bottle tripped over and then it fell. So Prabhupada was furious, Prabhupada was so particular. We have become so wasteful nowadays. One day Prabhupada was walking and then suddenly he crossed the street. And all the devotees were surprised. What happened? And there was one tap, overflowing. Prabhupada went and closed it. And sometimes Prabhupada would switch off the lights, fans, go around. Prabhupada said, you are all drinking my blood, he would say. Then Prabhupada, anywhere, even in Vrindavan, if you see, the whole day the lights, bulbs are on. Prabhupada would not tolerate even 1 minute also without somebody in the present in the room. If they switch on the lights and leave them on, Prabhupada would be furious. He said, you are wasting Krishna's energy. Like that. So Prabhupada was furious and he chastised him very heavily. He said, you rascal, even after 80 years also, you will not have the intelligence. You have no intelligence. Even after 80 years also, you will not have intelligence. Like that he shouted at him. Then after that everything is over. Prabhupada cools down. Then he was massaging. Then Shrutakirti, actually Prabhupada told to Shrutakirti, there is no use fighting with you. You are like a woman. No fight back. No use chastising you. You don't fight back. Tamal and all, they fight back. Like that. You are like a woman. You're too submissive. Like that. So during massage, thank you Prabhupada, he told. Prabhupada asked, why you are saying thank you? In the morning you said no, that after 80 years you will get intelligence. I am thinking even after 80 years also I will not get intelligence. If you are saying that after 80 years I will get intelligence, I am very happy. Then Prabhupada laughed. Yes. Like that. During the morning walk around White Rock Lake, while talking philosophically about various topics, Prabhupada turned casually to Sasarup Maharaj and asked about the preparations for the installation. When Sasarup said he was uncertain whether Krishna's paint would be dry enough, Prabhupada suddenly stopped. If the deities weren't ready, he said, there was no use in his staying any longer in Dallas. Turning to his secretary, he told him to change their flight reservations as soon as possible. Sasarup begged forgiveness and said that maybe everything could still be done on schedule. Prabhupada's angry mood changed and he continued walking, talking about other matters. Later in his room, Prabhupada talked alone to Sasarupa, continuing on the point of his morning lecture about materialistic life. In a casual way, as most people would talk about ordinary things, Prabhupada spoke of the foolishness of the conditioned souls. They think that just by having a big family and being absorbed in mundane activities, they do not have to concern themselves with death or with the next life. As Prabhupada spoke, he shook his head in disbelief, considering the incredulous position of the materialist. All of Prabhupada's disciples noted the same amazing thing about him. Wherever he went, his consciousness was always in transcendence. Whether staying up late, worrying and talking about Bombay or criticizing devotees for repenting the deity, his mind was ever moving from one Krishna conscious consideration to another. The devotees with him would sometimes observe his awesome Krishna consciousness from a respectful distance. At other times, they might, in the name of service, speak up and become more personally involved, or they might find themselves thirst under the direct scrutiny of his demanding attention. No one could presume or accurately predict in what way Prabhupada would act in his constant, grave service to his spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada said, person Bhagavat and book Bhagavat, one should learn Bhagavatam from a person Bhagavat. So Srila Prabhupada was a personification of Bhagavatam. Whatever principles are given in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada exemplified them. Right? Any of us, any time, can tell some of our assistant or somebody that please record whatever I speak. Can anybody say this? Whatever I speak, you record. Many times some department meetings used to take place, then they would say something, switch off the recording, huh? And then I will tell you. So because you say something about someone else. But Prabhupada would always tell, record whatever I speak. That is, because he was only speaking about Krishna, like that. Once Mukund Maharaj and Prabhupada, they went to renew his visa, because he was having visa problem. So American consulate they went, Prabhupada and Mukund Maharaj. And then that lady, she asked Prabhupada out of this, that you say that one should always remember Krishna. How is it possible? Because we have to work and all. Prabhupada replied, Mukund Maharaj was surprised at that American lady questioning Prabhupada like that. And then Prabhupada replied, just like you are very busy working, but you don't forget to eat, or you don't forget to dress up. Like that only. It becomes natural if you practice. Then Prabhupada asked, this San Francisco Bay Area is a earthquake prone zone. How come you built such a high-rise building here? She said, don't worry, Swamiji, this is an earthquake-proof building. Yeah. Then Prabhupada was coming down, Prabhupada sitting in the car, Prabhupada commented, there is nothing called earthquake-proof building. So later on, after 2 days, when they are filling up the form for visa, there was a huge earthquake. All of them are running down like that. And then Mukund Maharaj said, first time I saw somebody practicing his teachings. Prabhupada was very cool, filling up the form. Said, chant Hare Krishna. What we can do now? What we can do? Just chant Hare Krishna. Once Hamsadatta Maharaj, he asked Prabhupada, now world war is coming, nuclear warfare may take place. How the devotees, we have to prepare for the war? Prabhupada replied, you don't have to prepare for the war, you prepare how to chant Hare Krishna. How to chant Hare Krishna. So there is no need for you. You just prepare for the war, for chanting Hare Krishna. Hamsadatta Maharaj said, that's all? Prabhupada said, yeah, that's all. You just chant Hare Krishna. Like that. There are many instances, where people have experienced Prabhupada's full Krishna consciousness, living Bhagavatam. Living Bhagavatam. 24 hours, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Like that. While sitting with Saraswati Maharaj, Prabhupada began humming and singing a Sanskrit phrase from the morning Bhagavatam class, Gruheshu Gruhamedinam. Then he said, so how is the deity? Saraswati said, he thought he was dry. Prabhupada stood and walked into the room where Janava was examining the repainted deity. Calmly he stood before Radha and Krishna, singing to himself, yes, he said, now it's all right. Later that morning, in the temple room, Srila Prabhupada is very particular about the deities and all. Actually, when Vrindavan, Radha Shyamsundar, Lalita Vishaka deities, they arrived in the middle of the night, So all the peacocks and all the birds, they started singing and dancing. And when Prabhupada saw, oh, Radharani is looking like Yamuna Mataji, our Yamuna. And there is one more Mataji, I forgot. Lalita and Vishaka, she is looking like that. Later on Prabhupada said, no, Lalita Vishaka looking like Yamuna. And Madri, somebody Mataji. Madri, I think. So Radharani is looking like, so our Aditi Mataji, she was commenting, because Yamuna Mataji and other Mataji, they were regularly going to Jaipur and telling telling the Shilpakar how to make the deities. Actually, Radharani and Lalita Vishaka, they look like them because he was looking at them and making the deities. Like that. Actually, Prabhupada was saying that, oh, Radharani is looking like Yamuna. Like that. Later that morning in the temple room, Prabhupada sat on his Vyasasan and installed Radha and Krishna, reciting the prayers from Brahma Samhita. He then offered the first arati to the deities, who had been hastily dressed and placed on an almost bare altar. Prabhupada seemed pleased, however, and later went up to his room and wrote up in a piece of paper, Radha Kalachandji, the deity of Dallas, September 12, 1972. A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami. Kalachandji, he said, meant black moon. Prabhupada was preparing to return soon to India via a western route, and he paid another visit to Western and World Headquarters in Los Angeles. On the very day he arrived, however, he wrote more directions to the devotees in Bombay, reassuring them the Juhu land was not just a trouble spot, but special place where a great plan would be carried out. It was worth fighting for. Now I am anxious to hear if the conveyance deed has been signed and what are the contents. Kindly send me the copy duly signed as quickly as possible. This will give me great relief. As soon as the conveyance has been signed, you may begin the building work immediately. I am coming to India soon, at least by October, and I want to see that building projects in Mumbai, Mayapur and Vrindavan are going on nicely. This Bombay project is one of our most important projects in the whole world, and I am looking to you and the others there in Bombay to see that it is done very significantly, magnificently. Prabhupada's secretary had recently shown him a new advertisement booklet printed by Air India, in which the art theme was exclusively dedicated to Krishna and Vrindavan. Prabhupada was encouraged to see that Air India was enticing tourists to come to India to experience Krishna culture. This confirmed his idea that in the future Hare Krishna land and his other Indian projects would be important showpieces for tourists wanting to experience real Vedic culture. Mail from Bombay always received first priority, and every morning Prabhupada would ask for news from Bombay, giving any letter from Giriraja immediate attention. Early in October, he received a long letter from Giriraj. We just cannot control the material nature, and although everything is going on slow, Mrs. Morarji, Mr. Munim and the bank and Mr. N all feel that they are proceeding as quickly as possible. And they do not respond very favorably to being over-reminded by me of the urgency of the matter and your anxiety that it be finished. Nothing new had developed. The deed still had not been signed. Although Giriraj said he now had no intentions of resigning his post, Prabhupada, after studying the letter, concluded that other senior devotees in India should also help. He therefore wrote to Tamal Krishna Goswami and Bhavananda, both in Vrindavan, asking them to go immediately to Bombay and try to expedite the conveyance. Prabhupada was asking Tamal Krishna Goswami to revive his active status as a manager in India. Giriraj is finding difficulty from his letter, I can understand. So I think you have to revive your position as GBC again and look after all the business of India affairs nicely. Prabhupada alone wrote Giriraja, informing him that other devotees were coming to help and reminding him to also work with the board of trustees. I cannot tax my brain so much from such distant places as to what to do if there is any difficulty. Therefore, I am relying completely on you, my trusted senior disciples, to finish up these things nicely. Prabhupada repeatedly instructed the managers in Bombay not to deviate from the terms of the purchase agreement. He was willing, as a matter of concession, to pay the 5 lakhs to be deducted from the total price. But no more changes. The devotee should press Mr. N to the original agreement. Prabhupada was worried that he had not heard from his lawyer, Mr. D. 2 weeks before, he had telegrammed both Mr. N and Mr. D, asking for reports of the delays, but he had received no replies from either of them. He had since written to another lawyer, a friend in Bombay, asking about the delay, and in Los Angeles he received the reply, Mr. D was no longer his attorney. A couple of days after receiving this shocking news, Prabhupada received a formal letter from the office of Mr. D informing him of the same. Of all the recent news from Bombay, this was the most disturbing. Prabhupada began to see how Mr. N had been devising a devious plot from the beginning. It was not just a matter of slowness or bureaucratic delay. Mr. D had been in league with Mr. N. They were cheaters. So now it was going to be the real fight. ISKCON would have to go to the court and file criminal charges against Mr. N. There was no avoiding the fight, but Prabhupada still felt that his position was largely very strong. Before leaving Los Angeles, Prabhupada thought of a further tactic. He wrote to Giriraja that he should put up a notice in newspapers advising the public that ISKCON has signed an agreement for purchasing Mr. N's land at Juhu. He then travelled to Berkeley. During his brief visit to Berkeley, Prabhupada met with a group of professors from the University of California and also installed Radha Krishna deities in the Berkeley temple. But still he was meditating on Bombay. He wrote to Tamal Krishna Goswami, "The Bombay dealing has been muddled by the tactics of Mr. N and Mr. D. Giriraja is in trouble. He is a child in these worldly dealings. So immediately go to help him. But you must be careful to pay the money in the court, not in the hand of Mr. N or his solicitor. Settle up the things properly, otherwise let us go to the court for specific action, either evict or criminal action against the tactics of Mr. N." Prabhupada decided to send Karandara, whom he considered expert, to help in Mumbai. He also wanted to send Shyam Sundara, but Shyam Sundara had gone to London regarding a large country estate George Harrison was donating. Prabhupada notified Shyam Sundar, however, that once the London transaction was completed, he should go to Bombay. Prabhupada was ready for the fight. He would not be cheated. During his return trip to India, Prabhupada again visited Hawaii. Then on October 11, he went for the first time to Manila, where a small number of disciples had arranged preaching programs for him, both in the temple and at the Hotel Intercontinental. In Manila, Prabhupada carefully considered his position regarding the Juhu property and concluded that he would come out victorious. He listed the points of his argument in a letter to Giriraja. "We have fulfilled all the conditions as purchaser. Mr. N has purposefully delayed with a motive to cheat us, as he had done with some of others in connection. By the time he cannot cheat us, but this time he cannot cheat us because we are in possession of the land. Our deity Radha Krishna is installed there. Therefore, we must immediately go to the court for enforcing him to execute the conveyance immediately. Even if the court case goes on for a long time, still our business there cannot be stopped. Without going to the court, we cannot make any compromise with him. But I think we can arrange the full amount of 14 lakhs to get out of this rascal out of the scene. But we cannot do it without going to the court, otherwise we shall become a party for breaking the purchase agreement. Therefore, we have to go to the court before making any compromise." Vrindavana, October 17, 1972. Prabhupada had come to Vrindavan to observe the Kartik season from October 16 to November 14. He planned to lecture daily at the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami in the courtyard of Radha Damodar temple, speaking from the nectar of devotion, his own translation of Rupa Goswami's book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. On his western tour, he had invited devotees to join him for Kartika in Vrindavan, and now a few dozen devotees from America, Europe, India and other parts of the world had gathered to be with him. He was concerned with developing his Vrindavan project, so rather than immediately rushing to Bombay, he had come here first, sending some of his leading disciples to tackle the problems in Bombay. Now, like a general engaged on different front, he awaited word from his lieutenants in Bombay. He moved into his 2 small rooms at the Radha Damodar temple, while his disciples stayed nearby in the former palace of the Maharaja of Bharatpur, an old building near the Yamuna. Although Prabhupada was introducing his disciples to Vrindavan, he was also introducing the residents of Vrindavan to his disciples. Already his group was encountering some of the same attitudes. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and his party pilgrims had met in 1932. The people's refusal to accept low-born persons as Vaishnavas. Prabhupada trusted, however, that if his disciples could construct a wonderful temple for Krishna and Balaram, the hearts of Vrindavan residents would change and they would accept his disciples. He tolerated the roughness and slowness of his disciples, and when Vrindavan residents came to see him, he humbly requested they also overlook his disciples' faults and recognize them as genuine devotees of Krishna. After all, they had given up sinful life and were regularly chanting the holy names of God. So this Prabhupada Radha Damodar temple lectures are very famous, where Prabhupada spoke about Bhakti Rasama Sindhu, in the small rooms. So Prabhupada told, this is the most important place in the world, Radha Damodar, temple, and especially his quarters. So first time when Prabhupada came, he gave it the key to Gurudas Prabhu of his quarters, Radha Damodar temple. And he told him, protect more carefully than your life these keys. It's very important. So later on, Prabhupada told Bhakti Rasama Sindhu, devotees should read regularly. This is a handbook of devotees, for devotees. Everybody should like that. So from this we can understand how Prabhupada is fighting war on behalf of Krishna. Right? So there is no personal interest or anything. So sometimes his disciples were thinking why Prabhupada was so much hell-bent on returning this land. Anyway, this far off, that time Juhu is not very populated or anything. Right? But all of you know how Prabhupada promised that he would build a marble palace for Krishna. Before he started Krishna consciousness movement, he promised to Krishna. And then Krishna gave him the land. So he had to do that. So later on, Prabhupada was not tired. Later on, when Mrs. Nair signed the papers, finally, actually, she was crying and crying on that day. So all the disciples, they thought, actually, Mr. Nair is a saint in front of Mrs. Nair. Mrs. Nair gave more trouble to than Mr. Nair. She was the one who was ready to break the deities and all. And she was getting nightmares in the night. And some ghosts are haunting and all. Prabhupada called her and told, you sign the papers, all the nightmares will go away. And then she was so much troubled by the ghosts. You know why? Because Mr. Rane, they were doing black magic on devotees of Hare Krishna land. One day, early in the morning when Mangalarti was going on, there was huge cries, bachao, bachao, bachao. He became, because the devotees are chanting Hare Krishna, these ghosts this black magic did not work on devotees. And that is a system, if somebody does black magic and if it doesn't work on that person, it will, hit back on you. And that man put fire to himself. Fire to himself. And bachao, bachao, he was. Nobody understood why he put fire to himself. But like that it happened. All those who were involved, in defaming Hare Krishna devotees, they all got punished. Mr. Matre karke a corporator tha. He was behind all these troubles. Right? And then one day he was caught with some woman and all that, and the people are stoning at him, and he completely became Badnam. And then Mr. Nair, he would see Lord Nishingadev coming and threatening him. Threatening him. And then he was so one day he came and complained also. Some mysterious animal comes and troubles me and all that. Then Prabhupada, when he was in New Zealand, then he got a phone call from Giriraj Maharaj. Mr. Nair is dead. Karke. He was very happily, joyfully, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. He was shouting. And then Prabhupada, his disciples were surprised. What happened, Prabhupada? Oh, Mr. Nair has gone, Then he said, then later on he told, all my disciples, all the devotees who are connected to ISKCON, they will go back to Godhead. But Mr. Nair, Mr. Nair will not go back. He said, Mr. Nair will not go back. Actually, no. Somebody asked Prabhupada, all of us will come again meet in Golok Vrindavan. Prabhupada said, yes, we all will meet, but Mr. Nair will not be there. Then he said, I prayed to, he was giving so much trouble to devotees, I prayed to Lord Nishingadev to kill him. Actually, Lord Nishingadev only killed Mr. Nair. Otherwise, very healthy, attakata admi, suddenly he got heart attack and died. Like that. Like that. Then Prabhupada quoted, Tadyachamanyus asrascha hatastvayadhyaya modeta sadharupi vrishchika sarpahatya. Lokamscha nivritamitam pratiyanti sarve rupam nishimha vibhayaya janasmaranti. He quoted this verse, saying that devotees, because Prahlad Maharaj was saying that, my dear Lord, now this demon was killed, because the cause of your anger is this demon, troubling me and all. Now this Mr. Hiranyakashipu was killed. Once Prabhupada was in Mumbai, and then they did a drama. They did a drama of Lord Nishingadev killing Hiranyakashipu. And then Prabhupada would enjoy these dramas very much. Then Prabhupada later on commented, oh, Mr. Hiranyakashipu is very nice. He was very nice, he played very good. Like that. So Mr. Hiranyakashipu was killed now. Now you give up the anger. Then he said, Modeta sadharapi vrishchika sarpahatya. The devotee sadhus also are very pleased when a scorpion or a snake get killed. Like that. So that lady started crying. They all thought, now so much tension was there, now it is finished. She's crying out of relief. But actually, I think Prabhupada, they have purchased this land for some 18 lakhs or 19 lakhs. And then one day before only she got a offer for some 35 lakhs or 40 lakhs. Because she was crying because she lost around 15-20 lakhs. That time, it's a big amount. Like that. Then Prabhupada commented after the signing of the papers. He was not flustered or frustrated or anything, He said, Prabhupada commented, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Like that. So like this, Prabhupada, he was always... like it was said, we cannot actually judge, what he's going to say, because his mood is what with the mood, his mood and all that. Like Hamsadatta Prabhu was saying, very interesting, Hansad, his name was, Hans Jugren Carey, his original name. So Prabhupada informed that, you come to New York, I will initiate you. So Prabhupada was saying, this is your name, this is your name. Then when he called him, he said, Hansadatta Das. Hansadatta Das. So he did not understand what it is. Then he asked, what is it, Prabhupada? What is it, Prabhupada? He said, just add Datta to your name. Hans Jigren Carey. So he did not like, because he was a German, and then previously that time they were not liking Germans. See, in America, so he always hated his name, that it represented his, he is an immigrant, he's from Germany. So he did not like. Then, oh my God, after initiation, he was very happy that he will get some Hanuman Das or Hari Das or something like that. But Hansa, then Hansadatta Adhikari, then Carry, already Carry is there. One day he went and asked Prabhupada, what is the meaning of my name? I don't know. Prabhupada told, I don't know. Another time, after a few days, again Prabhupada, he went and asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what is the meaning of my name? Said, it is there in Bhagavatam, find out. Find out, After 6 months, he was sitting and doing some darshan, and then he was telling Shivananda Das means name of this, Krishna Das means name of, it's all, he was explaining who is Shivananda, who is Krishna Das, who is Haridas and all that. Then Hansadatta Prabhu asked, Prabhupada, who is Hansadatta? Prabhupada said, you. You said, in my whole life I could not know who is Hansadatta and what is the meaning of that. Once he was saying that once he was, one reporter asked Prabhupada, are you a pure devotee? Prabhupada said, yes. Are you seeing Krishna every day? Prabhupada said, yes. Then the reporter asked, can you show me Krishna? Prabhupada told he showed all his disciples, you become like one of them, I will show you. Like that. Every time Prabhupada would answer, differently, Like another time, somebody asked, he told Prabhupada, Ramakrishna karke koi hai? He was saying that he is Rama and Krishna. Right? Prabhupada would say, maybe he is. I don't know. And then he showed Bhagavad Gita, said, I don't know whether he is Ramakrishna and all, but for sure I know from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is God. So why should I? Every time the question was asked to Prabhupada, Prabhupada would answer differently. Yeah? Prabhupada would answer differently. Like that. Like Guru Das Prabhu was saying, once Prabhupada raised this point, how do you prove that Krishna is God? So they all said, because it is given in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, who cares? Prabhupada told. Then because you are saying Krishna is God. Prabhupada said, they say I am an old man. What is the use of him, listening to him, a old man? Like that, the standard arguments Prabhupada, defeated. Like that. Then Prabhupada, you say, how do you prove? Then Prabhupada told that, when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna's name, you experience great joy, great happiness. That's why he is God. Everybody can experience, Prabhupada. Wow, they all thought. After 3-4 months, Prabhupada came to Mumbai, and then again the morning walk conversation was going on. Some darshan was going on. And then Prabhupada again asked, how do you prove that Krishna is God? Immediately Gurudas Prabhu was very happy. I know the answer. Said, Prabhupada like this. No, that they will say that is your personal experience. So how? Because it's said in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is God. Like that. Like that. So Prabhupada, once his wife was, Prabhupada is very fond of, Himavati Mataji. Once they put, Jagannath Baldev deities, Baldev Subhadra deities, just beside his Vyasasan while he was giving class. And then very nice dress was sewn and, decorated, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. Prabhupada asked, who made this dress? So Himavati Mataji said, Prabhupada, I made this dress. Prabhupada said, very nice, very nice. Then he said, just by sewing cloth for Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, you will become self-realized, he said to Himavati Mataji. So Prabhupada, she was very happy. But then immediately, she was just like a daughter to him. Prabhupada, I need a very good, sewing machine. Best machine, which is costing at that time $300. But Hamsaduta is not giving. Prabhupada said, yes, Hamsaduta, you immediately give. She is such a, she deserves it. Best machine you purchase and give. Like that. So one day, Prabhupada was visiting, and then Himavati Mataji was there. And that time, he instructed, because she was a very good cook, Hamsaduta instructed Himavati Mataji that, Prabhupada is not well, don't cook too much. So she didn't care, and then she cooked full feast. And then she served Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada completely ate that plate. Did not leave anything. Then when Himavati Mataji went to pick up the plate, it was all empty. Then she commented to Prabhupada, Hamsaduta was saying, you are not well, you are not eating properly. You're not eating properly. How you ate very nicely? Prabhupada said, no, it's not like that. They don't know how to cook. I am okay. I am okay. Once Prabhupada commented to Hamsaduta, they were going some morning walk conversation, a morning walk, and then Prabhupada commented, because sun was falling on him, and then Prabhupada commented, the sages, they catch hold of the sun beams and go to other planets. And then Prabhupada said, I experimented it in Hamburg. I experimented going by catching the sun beams and going to the other planets. Then Hamsaduta was shocked, saying that, what, like that. So very interesting thing, many times Prabhupada told to Hamsaduta that Hitler was a Shaktiavesh avatar. You heard this? Huh? You heard this? Hitler was a Shaktiavesh avatar. Hamsaduta was, Shaktiavesh avatar? Prabhupada said, Shaktiavesh avatar means they will come to do very powerful things, very big things. So not only for constructive thing, for destructive thing also they come to do. So Prabhupada, sometimes in the West, he would quote, Emerson read Bhagavad Gita, Thoreau read Bhagavad Gita, and sometimes he would quote, Hitler also read Bhagavad Gita. Then Hamsaduta Maharaj told Prabhupada, don't quote him in America. In France, it is an offense, criminal offense, to quote Hitler or praise him or put his name and all that. You know that? It's a criminal offense. In America also, they hate him. Prabhupada, they don't like Hitler here. You will get into trouble. Oh, but in India, they like Hitler. You know this? Every time there is some anarchy or something, they'll say, we need Hitler, they'll say. Dictatorship. To make things all right. Prabhupada said, actually in India, people like Hitler because enemy's enemy is my friend. For us, Britishers were enemies, and Hitler was the enemy of Britain, so he is our friend. But he said, Prabhupada, in America, they don't like Hitler. So many interesting things, he would tell like that. Once Prabhupada, Hamsaduta Maharaj, and that time he was a Grahastha, and he and his wife, they were here. And then they were living in a small apartment, everybody is together. And then Prabhupada one day, Himavati wanted something, he didn't have any money. Prabhupada, I'm a Grahastha, living with a wife, traveling with a wife. I'm traveling with you and preaching. Sometimes if she wants something, I don't have any money, it is very embarrassing. Prabhupada said, yes, Grahastha life is very embarrassing. He said, Prabhupada, I am traveling with you, I am preaching along with you, I need some money. Yeah, what to do? Yeah, by hook or crook, you have to earn money. He was saying, Prabhupada was not taking $20 bill, he was saying, okay, you take it. Like that. Anyway, so many interesting things. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada Lilamrta ki jai.